Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. Now, this evening, there's a simple question. So, you want black folk to vote for Kamala Harris, and the question is why? Had a conversation with a person from Benign, a country in Africa, a very small country in Africa, and inspired this conversation. But he was just stating how we should go out and vote, no matter the party, but he's going to vote if he had the opportunity to vote for Kamala Harris. And my question is why? Not so much targeted at the brother himself, but we need to have a real conversation because we need to address some things that keeps popping up in every election. Celebrities, athletes, and entertainers, they push black folk to vote for candidates like Kamala Harris with no targeted policies for our communities. And the question is, why do they keep showing up with nothing but empty slogans, photo ops, and symbolic gestures? If you notice, other groups get tangibles, they get laws, they get legislations, they get benefits, they get grants. So why is it that they have entertainers, celebrities, and actors coming out to persuade, to influence black folk to vote for Democrats where they offer nothing in hand? And when you question them, they don't have any tangible answers to render of the support you get. They just keep stating that the Republicans and or Donald Trump is racist. And again, family, I'm apolitical, so I don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak. Because again, we should be looking out for our own best interests. Because the only thing that occurs with us each and every 4 years is that we end up frustrated and fed up. And we really need to break this cycle, because it's high time we demand real policies instead of settling for fear tactics and benign neglect, because that's essentially all we get. So let's get into it, because every 4 years, celebrities like LeBron James, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, Plies, now even Eminem. I saw Eminem recently supporting Kamala Harris. I don't know why they essentially had Eminem, but of course he's a rapper, so they had to have him on stage. But they're essentially telling everyone to go out here to vote for the Democrats. But what are they offering us in return? Because there's really nothing concrete for black Americans. What do we get instead? We get a bunch of pandering. Think about all the kente cloth photo ops, the hot sauce in the bag routine. You guys remember Hillary Clinton. You guys remember when all the Democrats kneeled on one knee and they had on kente cloth trying to appeal to black Americans? And what about Van Jones' recent video clips about Mamala? The question I still have is, where are the policies? Where are the policies that target a black community where they're going to support us like they did or like they do the Asians? What are the policies like they do and like they have with Hispanics? Where are the policies? Where's the legislation that directly benefits our communities in the form of housing? Because, a lot of times people speak very vague. Let's speak to the topics. Let's speak to the issues that we have in our communities. Where are the policies that's dealing with housing, wealth redistribution, like closing the wealth gap, police reform, and of course, reparations. Reparations is not going anywhere, especially not from my mouth. We hear a lot about diversity and inclusion, but when it comes to passing real laws or more resources to the black community, suddenly the room goes quiet. If you notice, Democrats get all of these entertainers and rappers and singers and pole dancers, get your booty to the polls. Remember the campaign they had when they did the little music video with what's the rapper's name, the female black rapper? This was a couple of years ago when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were running together with Saucy Santana, Trina. They had no vucking, no vote. You guys remember that, right? Where they totally disrespected the black community, where they had Trina and they had Saucy Santana speaking about no vucking, no vote. But of course, they were talking about if you're not going to vote, then you're not going to have sex with your significant other, which is kind of weird. But nonetheless, this is how they disrespect the black community. They don't do this with the Asians. They don't do this with the Hispanics. And they sure damn don't do this with white people. This was a strategy where politicians decide to ignore our specific needs, Black American specific needs, so they could avoid alienating other voting blocs. And we understand that this sounds very, very familiar, because that's exactly what's been happening with the Democratic Party. And again, I'm not trying to push you guys over to be Republicans. You guys know where I stand. They know they have black voters in the bag. This is the rhetoric out of the Democratic Party. The only thing they're doing is paying black folk attention. And if you notice, this is an onslaught that really came on within the last 6 months, where they really start to garnish the black vote. They really start to obtain the black vote. And they do this by putting actors, entertainers, and celebrities in front of us to say, we see you black people, so vote for the Democrats. They know they have black voters in the back because of the loyalty built during the civil rights movement by the way of Lyndon B. Johnson. But instead of giving us real policies, again, speak to the policies, not the color. Speak to the policies, not the party. Speak to the policies and not the rhetoric. They hit us with distractions. Identity politics. Is Kamala Harris black, Indian, or indifferent? They give us vague promises, nothing really specific to us. And then they state, we're not as racist and we're not as bad as the Republicans. That's the rhetoric we get. What's even worse, especially when you think about it, is how the Democratic Party keeps trying to scare us into voting for them each and every election. And it's been working. If you don't vote for Democrats, the Republicans are going to take your rights away. They're going to lock up all the black people. You're going to see marches in the street with the KKK. This is some of the scare tactics and strategies of the Democratic Party. If you don't vote for us, Trump's coming back. He's going to be a dictator. But let me ask you this. What's the difference? If neither party is offering us tangible benefits, voting against something is enough. It really isn't enough anymore. If Democrats want our vote, they need to earn them with specific commitments, not just talk about climate change. Because let's be real, family. Do black folk really care about climate change with all the oil being pumped, whether it be from the ocean, Alaska, and Texas, all around the country? They don't care about those communities. They don't care about those communities. They have all sorts of spillage and contamination. So are we really caring about climate change? They want us to care about climate change where we're the bottom of the food chain, where we make the lowest wages, if that. So if Democrats want our vote, they need to earn them just as well they do other parties. They do other people. And not just, again, they talk about climate change. They talk about student debt forgiveness, which a lot of people haven't really received. And the one thing they are reluctant to talk about is immigration reform, because now we see that immigrants are affecting black folk, which at one point in time they stated that it didn't affect crime, that it didn't affect black folk, it didn't affect the competition in the marketplace of jobs and careers and works. But we understand that's different now. The climate and the structure of that has changed. And we understand that the policies that are in place have disproportionately affect us more so than other groups in a negative light. It has directly affected black jobs. I know a lot of people didn't like the term when Donald Trump stated that. And I really didn't find offense to that, because, family, when you think about it, and he could have said that better. I'm not trying to give him an excuse. He just don't know any damn better. That's just good old Donald Trump. And I'm apolitical, family. I'm not a Republican. And I have to keep saying this for new people who come in. So if you guys been here for a while, you understand I have to do the disclaimer, because some people may think that I'm a Republican, which I'm not. I'm just on some black empowerment shit, because we have to understand as Neely Fuller said, we have no friends. We have to be for ourselves. We have to empower ourselves. But nonetheless, we have to understand that there's certain genre and certain industries of jobs that majority of black people are in. And when you let low skill, low wage workers inside the marketplace, you're going to get laid off. You're going to get fired, and they're going to hire this person at half the rate or a quarter of the rate that you may have been receiving that pay. So if you were getting $15 an hour, they may be receiving $5 an hour. So instead of one person, they can now hire 3 people. Because I'm still looking, where's the progress? Because if we look at police reform, for example, after George Floyd's murder, the Democrats took a knee and wore kente cloth. And we understand that as symbolism at its highest point. Let me refrain. What in the hell taking the knee and wearing kente cloth is going to do in a protection bill for black Americans? Can we get a federal protection status like Asian Americans? Because my question is this: where's the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act? Even though that bill, that legislation has no teeth, but it's still sitting on the shelf. And what about reparation? Every election cycle, we hear something half-hearted promises about forming a commission to study the issue, HR 40. And then I think it was about a month ago, Kamala Harris talking about, now she's willing to entertain the reparations conversation. But just 4 years ago, when she was on the VP ticket, basically she said no, she's not going to entertain reparations. But we don't have any actual progress. Meanwhile, other groups like Asian Americans receive protections almost overnight through COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. So when it's time to help others, if you notice this, when it's time to help others, Congress moves very fast. But when it's us, they tell us, be patient. And again, they get all of these people. And I did a broadcast on Monday, if you guys want to catch that, on Wendell Pierce, because he's been one of the celebrities who've come out and been very emotional about how black men and black people should be voting for Kamala Harris. And, President Obama came out and disrespected black men, talking about we don't want to vote for a black woman. They're putting in identity politics, gender politics to guilt and shame black men into voting for Kamala Harris. Why is it when these politicians, these celebrities, these athletes, these entertainers get in front of black folk as though we are children and disrespect the entire hell out of us, and then somehow they gravitate the black vote and we once again vote for the Democratic Party? When are we going to take the reins of our own freedom and our own economic emancipation and say, you know what, it's time out for all this BS? When are we going to do that, family? I see you, Volvo. I see Tube in the room. Tube says, cut the check. I can't agree more. And some people would like to believe, well, is the Republican Party better for black Americans? They're no better for us. I'm not here to tell you that Republicans are the answer either. So let's be clear about it. The GOP has made it very obvious that they're not interested in our upliftment. Nobody's willing to put in actual policies to decrease the wealth gap. The GOP has made it very obvious that they're not interested in our empowerment. They oppose reparations at every turn. Watered down discussions about police brutality because they don't really want to change that. If anything, they want to enforce qualified immunity, and they block civil rights protections at every turn. Their policies often serve the interests of the wealthy and corporations, not the working class black Americans, not our people. So let's not pretend we have a champion on either side of the aisle. And I know some people, they really want to pick a side. They really want to pick the lesser of two evils. And as I tell everybody, I'm not willing to vote for evil. My ancestors died for me to have the right to vote, for me to have the option to vote, not that I have to vote. And as I always tell people, if you're invited to dinner and when you show up, there's no food, are you going to sit down to eat? I know that doesn't make any sense. Why are you sitting down at a dinner table and there's no food? And neither party has showed us anything. So I know the question is probably rambling inside your head. What should Black Americans vote for? That's the $1 million question. Or in our case, when it comes to reparations, that's the $1 trillion question. If neither party offer us anything meaningful, who or what should Black Americans vote for? So first, let's stop voting for lipoliticians, aka politicians, who only show up in our neighborhoods during election season. You only see these people during election seasons. When the last time you see Donald Trump at a McDonald's, at a Burger King, at a Denny's, at an IHOP during non-election season? And then you have people like Elon Musk coming out, oh, look at this great American president. You don't see Kamala Harris doing this because you don't even see Donald Trump doing this. Things are getting really scarce where you have a billionaire who used to be president to go and serve Big Macs and hamburgers at McDonald's. It's getting pathetic. It's getting pathetic, family. They always show up in our neighborhoods during election season. We actually need to really, and I mean actually really need to hold them accountable before giving away our vote. We're just giving it away. Stop believing that you live in a true democracy. According to the Constitution, you live in a republic. So once you cast your vote, you have nothing else to say. You have no other power, right? The only thing that you can do is wait for the next 4 years and don't vote for that person. But for that entire 4 years, they're making every legislative decision without your vote, without your voice. Just understand that. And this is according to the Constitution. We do not, I repeat, we do not live in a democracy. Read the Constitution for yourself and you will understand we live in a republic. One thing I believe we need to ask ourselves is first, what are we demanding in return for our vote? Housing policies, reparations, tax reforms, investments in Black-owned businesses, police accountability, police reform, police brutality bill. If they can't give us specifics, then they don't get our vote. It's really that simple. And maybe it's time to support independent candidates or movements that are actually focused on our issues. Maybe you should go in and write your name inside the ballot yourself. Vote for yourself if you really want to vote. You want to vote so bad? Go and vote for yourself. And the guy today that I was speaking to, if I can remember, I think his name was Azim, A-Z-I-M, Azim. He was from Benign, a really kind guy. And he was like, well, you know, if you don't play the game, so to speak, then you get what you get. And I said, well, we didn't play the game when Donald Trump won the presidency back in, was it 2016? And a lot of Black people didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. And I told him, and I'll tell you guys to this day, I'm still here, you're still here. Even through a Donald Trump presidency. The one thing that I got out of the Donald Trump presidency is that Black American has had the lowest unemployment rate that we've seen in almost 2 decades. Now, some people say, oh, well, when Joe Biden came into office, you know, currently we have a low unemployment rate. I want you guys to look at the economy. I want you guys to look at the fluctuating gas prices, the fluctuating grocery prices, etc. I want you to look at how illegal immigration has exploded. And I want you to ask yourself, is this the same country that we had when Donald Trump was in office? And again, for those who are just chiming in, rewind the tape. I'm for neither party, because if neither party are going to offer us anything, then guess what? I would not encourage, influence, tell, sway, manipulate, trick, coerce, rant, or give anyone rhetoric about voting for either party when they're not giving us anything specifically as they did other groups. Because don't forget, some people say, well, you're not going to get reparations because reparations is anti-constitutional. That's false. reparations according to your race is anti-constitutional. But when you speak about lineage, right? When you look at how Native Americans receive reparations in this country, they did it based off lineage because that's constitutional. But when you do it based upon race, that's anti-constitutional. So that's why you hear Foundation of Black Americans always speak about lineage and not necessarily race. Okay. So that's some things we really have to look at. And I think that when we're looking at independent candidates, if we can't find them within a two-party system, we really have to start building our own. We have to really start building a political bloc that doesn't just go along with the status quo. The black vote is powerful, family. That is why they do what they do. The black vote is very, very powerful, but only if we use it wisely. And I'm not saying go out here and vote for Cornel West. No. My dear brother, he's for everybody. And again, I don't care. Let's take, for instance, I'll give you an example. We either be Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, and they came out with policies that were specifically for Asians, specifically for Hispanics, specifically for white people. But they still made policies that were specifically for Black Americans that benefited us. Then I will vote. I'll vote for that candidate. Does that make sense? I see you, Lewis Knows. I see Jermaine Anderson, my good moderator. Thank you guys for chiming in this evening. I know I'm later than usual, but I'm traveling, so dealing with a tablet and a phone. But these are the things that we to initially comb through and understand. We don't necessarily have to understand politics on a high level. But again, I give you the analogy of being invited to dinner, and that's them asking you to go vote, right? They're asking you to go vote. I look at it as though they're asking you to come eat at the dinner table. But when you get there, there's no food. So again, why would I cast my vote? Because when I look at legislation, it's evidence in the making, because that is the commitment. When you're creating legislation, that is the evidence of a commitment of what you're going to do for the people who have consistently put Democrats into the presidency. Let me leave you with this. Before, I'll put an invite link in the chat before I leave here, because this is going to be very quickly. Let me leave you guys with this. Both parties have let us down through inaction, and that has been consistent across the board. Because even when Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law because of the pressure of Martin Luther King with the Civil Rights Act, we have to understand that other groups of immigrants, other immigrants have benefited from civil rights more so than the foundation that American was built on, and that's Black Americans. So the question is, where's the next comprehensive bill that will address the racial wealth gap? Why is it that we still don't have housing reform that prioritize Black renters and Black homeowners facing gentrification, aka redlining? And let's not forget how Biden and Harris campaigned on vague notions of police reform, and none of them have done police reform. And matter of fact, when Joe Biden became the president, he said he was going to refund and increase the police budget. That's how disrespectful Democrats have been to Black folk. He increased the police budget at the federal level once he was elected. These aren't just oversights, family. They're patterns. And this has been happening ever since Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law the Civil Rights Act. And he said, and he was recorded stating, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he said: if we sign the Civil Rights Act into law, we will have these niggas voting for Democrats for the next 100 years. And God damn it, Lyndon B. Johnson was right. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely tired of being an afterthought in either of these political parties. We have to make it clear, our votes are not free. And I know a lot of people are stating that, these other groups, the Asians, the Hispanics, they put their money where their mouth is, that they are funding the Democratic Party through AIPAC. They're funding the Democratic Party through the special donors. Well, let me tell you this. If that was such a huge influence, then why is the Democrats continue to try to win over the black vote? Why is that? Because at the end of the day, it's the votes that really get them in office. The money only helps them to create commercials and market themselves to the American people and help them to travel around the nation. But at the end of the day, it's the votes that makes him the president. Because if Kamala Harris or anyone else wants our support, they need to come with real, actionable policies. If Donald Trump or anyone else wants our support, they need to come with real, actionable policies. No more symbolic gestures, no more empty promises, and no more goddamn pandering with these athletes, celebrities, and entertainers. No more. We're done with the Democratic Party assuming they own our loyalty. We are done with the Democratic Party trying to fearmonger us into voting for them instead of the Republicans. We're done. We've been loyal for decades. And what do we have to show for it? Police still kill us disproportionately than any other group when we're unarmed and innocent. The wealth gap is still growing and no reparations in sight. The reparations conversation come and go. You guys seen the interview of Jill Stein on The Breakfast Club. Hopefully you guys went over to TBA, the Black Authority, and saw the interview with Jill Stein. She's still all lives matter. She kind of entertains the conversation of reparations, but she still is for open borders, fast track to citizenship. It seems as though like independents and Democrats, they're for illegal immigration for whatever reason. And that's another broadcast. I kind of know the reason behind that. But enough is enough. So in 24, family, let's vote for ourselves. Whether that means holding our vote for better candidates, building an independent movement, or using our vote as leverage to demand tangible policies. It's time to stop playing their game, and we need to start playing our own game. Because if you notice, we continue to lose whatever game we're playing. That's what I believe. It's time to really stop falling for the same tricks. We need to demand more, expect more, and don't let anyone scare you into voting for nothing. Oh man, you should go out and vote. Man, I ain't voting. Well, man, shit. All right, man, I'm gonna go vote for Trump. No, don't vote for Trump now. Don't vote for Trump. I'm voting for Kamala. All right, man, I'm gonna go in and vote for Kamala. No, don't vote for Kamala. Vote for Donald Trump. Don't let anyone scare you into voting for nothing. And again, I must tell you, our vote is very, very powerful. So we should definitely use it wisely. Definitely. Lils Knowles says 60% in 60 years. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Got Jermaine Anderson. Let me see if I can put this invite link and if anybody has any comments that they want to point out here. Again, I told you I'm working on my tablet. So hopefully everything is working fine. Probably worked better than my computer. So I'll put an invite link into the chat in case you guys want to chime in. You want to make any comments. You just want to do a shout out, whatever it is. I got a couple of more minutes before I end the broadcast here. So if you guys want to come up, again, you can join with and without your video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything that I can probably assist you with, or you just want to make some comments, that invite link is inside the chat. So you guys can go ahead and check that out. I'll go over any comments that I might have missed. I don't believe I have. Be one to my moderator, Jermaine Anderson. Appreciate the support, brother. Jermaine Anderson has been with me for quite some time now. I appreciate his hard work. Let's see. Lewis Noah says, safe travels. I appreciate that. The plane did not crash. I know I shouldn't say that, right? My wife tells me, babe, don't say that. Well, I'm happy the plane didn't crash. But anyway, I don't see anybody wanting to join this evening. But again, I would like to thank everyone. If you're not a subscriber of Blacklogic, go and hit that subscribe button if you want to. And if you like what you heard, if you didn't like what you heard, hit that thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay, this is not a dictatorship, so just want to get the analytics to see if you like the conversation or not. But nonetheless, you guys have a great and wonderful evening, and I thank you all for joining me here. Be one.